Hello, folks. It's time to unpack a major showdown that's sending shockwaves across the Atlantic. China versus the European Union on electric vehicle tariffs. Now, this isn't just any trade tiff, it's a heavyweight bout that could shake the very foundations of international trade norms. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of this high-stakes dispute. Just this month, on August 9, 2024, China threw a major punch by filing a complaint with the World Trade Organization targeting the EU's heavy-duty tariffs on Chinese-made EVs. We're talking tariffs that skyrocket up to 37.6 cents. That's massive. Now, why is this a big deal? Because it's not just about cars, it's about who leads the future of green technology, and let's be honest, about jobs and money. The EU claims they're just defending their turf, protecting local manufacturers from what they call a flood of subsidized Chinese EVs. They argue that these subsidies let Chinese companies slash prices and outcompete the European guys on their own ground. Fair play, they say, requires a level playing field. But China isn't just sitting back. They're hitting back hard, insisting that their support for the EV sector is above board and within WTO guidelines. They argue that what they're doing is no different from the incentives and subsidies the EU and the US give to their industries. So what's at stake here? Jobs, innovation, and the leadership in the green tech industry. Now, as we dive deeper into this, you gotta wonder, how will this spat affect you and me? Higher prices? Maybe. Less choice on the market? Possibly. But also consider this, a trade war over EVs could mean slower progress towards those clean energy goals everyone's been talking about. And who ends up paying the price? Yeah, you got it. Consumers and workers, just like us. So, as this drama unfolds, keep your eyes peeled. We're not just spectators. This is our future they're bartering with. All right, folks, let's get a handle on this whole tariff saga. So, what are we really talking about when we mention these tariffs? It's a bit of a chess game here. Now, I've got to ask for a quick favor. If you're finding this discussion enlightening, smash that like button. Your likes and comments not only mean the world to us, they also help more people get informed. And if you haven't already, consider watching the whole video to support our channel. We really value your engagement, and it helps us keep bringing you these deep dives into what's happening around the world. Thank you for being part of our community. The European Union, after some digging and investigating, decided that certain Chinese electric vehicle EV manufacturers are a bit too chummy with government subsidies. As a result, they've slapped on some hefty tariffs. Now, not all tariffs are created equal. Take SAIC, a big player that's state-owned. They're facing the steepest charge at a whopping 37.6%. On the other hand, companies like GAC and BYD are looking at lower rates of 19.9% and 17.4%, respectively. These aren't fly-by-night measures. They're set to last for 5 long years, unless there's a shakeup. But here's the thing. The EU isn't new to this game. They've already been taxing Chinese auto imports at 10%. So this new round is really turning up the heat. But it's not just about safeguarding jobs back home. No, sir. It's about steering the ship on the green transition, trying to be the big boss in the global push for cleaner energy. However, here's the pinch. These tariffs might just bump up the price tags on EVs for everyday folks in Europe. It's that age-old trade-off. Protect your own and risk pricing out your consumers. Now, when the EU decided to go big with these tariffs, China was quick on the draw. Their Ministry of Commerce didn't waste a moment before hitting back with a complaint to the World Trade Organization, saying these tariffs are out of line with the fair play rules of international trade. They're not just throwing a fit. They see this as a threat to the broader goals of global green technology progress. According to them, the EU is playing a risky game that could backfire on climate cooperation worldwide. The Chinese are dead serious about this. They want to protect their stake in the EV market and push forward the global green agenda. And here's where it gets bigger than just China and the EU. This tariff tiff is part of a global rethinking of economic ties with China. You've got the US piling on their own tariffs against Chinese goods, including EVs, for similar reasons. Everyone's looking over their shoulder, wondering how to compete with China without getting burned by subsidies they see as unfair. It's getting pretty heated in the global trade arena, folks, and now Canada might be throwing its hat in the ring with potential tariffs of its own. This whole scenario is turning into a global tug-of-war, trying to strike that delicate balance between protecting local industries and keeping the doors open for foreign competition. It's a tough act, and opinions are split, even within the European Union itself. You've got some EU countries lining up behind these tariffs, convinced they're the shield needed to guard local jobs and industries. But then, there are others who are skeptical, worried that swinging too hard with protectionism could spike costs and slow down Europe's race to a greener future. It's a real conundrum, and right there in the thick of it is Germany. With its powerhouse auto industry, Germany is in a bit of a bind. They've got a lot riding on the Chinese market, and any souring of those ties could be bad news for the German economy. And just when you think it might simmer down, the stakes get higher. In what looks like a tit-for-tat, China has launched probes into French cognac and European pork following the EU's tariff announcement. It's a classic move, straight from the old playbook of international diplomacy. You hit me, I hit you back. Analysts and experts are all over this one, trying to unpack what each move could mean down the line. Take Jian Junbo from Food University. He's calling China's response a reasonable play in the face of the EU's actions. He's pushing for a middle path, where everyone can compete but also cooperate, especially in the EV market where there's so much at stake for the planet. And then there's Qu Dongshu, the Secretary General of the China Passenger Car Association. He's not mincing words either. He's calling out the EU's tariffs as nothing more than a ploy to curb Chinese competition under the guise of protectionism. He warns that this could throttle innovation and ultimately limit choices for consumers, not just in Europe but globally. Folks, let's zoom out and take a bird's-eye view of this whole electric vehicle EV market situation. China, a major player, has been turning heads with its impressive surge in auto exports this past July. Despite a bit of a cool down in their domestic sales, the international stage is buzzing with Chinese EVs. They're pushing hard, making significant strides, and it's pretty clear they're not just playing locally anymore. Meanwhile, the European Union isn't sitting quietly by. They're pushing full throttle to stake their claim as a leader in green technology. It's an all-out race to the top as both sides throw big money into EV technology, aiming to dominate the market as the global shift towards sustainable energy picks up speed. But here's where it gets tangled. With tariffs and ongoing trade disputes, the road to collaboration looks more like a maze. Now, as the dust tries to settle, both China and the EU have some heavy strategizing to do. The clock is ticking, with the EU having to respond to China's WTO complaint by early November, before those provisional tariffs lock in permanently. The decisions made in these next few months could very well steer the future course of the EV market and reshape global trade dynamics for a long time. The balance here is delicate. It's about safeguarding local industries without slamming the door on international cooperation. This is bigger than just EVs. It's about the broader implications for technology, employment, and our environment. As we witness this unfold, it's clear that the global dialogue on trade and sustainability is just revving up. We're all part of this global ecosystem, and the stakes are high. So what's your take on this unfolding drama between China and the EU? How do you see it impacting the future of electric vehicles in Europe and beyond? I'm eager to hear your thoughts and predictions. Drop a comment below and let's get this conversation going. After all, the outcome here affects us all. Let's hope for solutions that drive us forward, not just in trade, but in our collective quest for a sustainable future. And that's it for today. Stay tuned for more, and catch you at the next one.